Hello and welcome to my video blog for Sunday, January the 8th. Oh my goodness, it's a brand new year and there seems to be a new front runner in the Republican race for president. And it is no other than Mitt Romney. Oh, I can't believe I'm even saying his name. Mitt Romney. Yeah, he seems as though America's finally saying, I'll date you. And the only reason why she's saying that is because he apparently seems to have the money to do so. You know, back in 2011, America was at one time gonna give Herman Cain a chance, and that relationship fizzled out because basically Herman Cain had way too many women that he couldn't account for. Then it was Christmas season, and America was making Google eyes at Newt Gingrich. Remember that? Oh yeah, Newt Gingrich, that white hair. Oh, it went with everything. It was so festive. But just as the Christmas season wrapped up, so did that relationship with Newt Gingrich. Suddenly it lost its appeal. And then now all of a sudden it seems as though America was a little bit enamored with Rick Santorum. Oh yeah, Rick Santorum. So enamored that he actually came in second at the Iowa caucus. But the only thing is America's still on the fence about that Rick Santorum because she doesn't know if he's got enough money to woo her. America's kind of unsure about Rick Santorum because, you know, he did well on one date and one caucus, but, you know, it's a long dating season. It's a long caucus season. Is he going to have money to take her to Red Lobster in every single state? Yeah, she's a greedy little something, that America. And the only person who seems like they're going to maybe be able to do it is that Mitt Romney. That's the only reason why he seems like he may be the guy she's going to settle with. But there is apparently a strong race for second. And it's currently between that Rick Santorum and no other than that Ron Paul. Ah, yeah. Ron Paul. Scrappy. Ron Paul. He knows the Constitution. Ron Paul, he's a little bit like Mighty Mouse. You know, with a little bit of the underdog because he knows the Constitution and he's champion of freedom and the people with pocket ninja moves. Pocket ninja. Yeah, Ron Paul, he was credited for basically taking down Michelle Bachmann with a shoulder shrug and got her out of there. How did he do that? Well, she basically was squawking a couple of weeks ago because he took away or lured away one of her staffers by offering him money. The audacity of that. And he left for more money. Can't believe it. And then the next day, she was out of the race after she lost in Iowa. And the fact that nobody voted for her in her own state. Can't believe it. Those pocket ninja moves seem to work out, that shoulder shrug motion. But Ron Paul, if you follow some of the analysts, he's actually given credit for doing more than just Michelle Bachmann. He's given credit for slowing down Rick Perry's momentum. He's given credit for putting the brakes on the Newt Gingrich rise. And Newt Gingrich and Ron Paul had their moments on Saturday night. Now, during the debate, I loved it when Ron Paul basically showed Newt how scrappy he can be when they were talking about none other than serving in the military. Because Newt Gingrich basically wanted to come back and try to say, you know, hey, you know, when I was asked to serve, I served in different ways and blah, blah, blah. And listen, Ron Paul just basically told him, look, when I was called to serve, I did. What you got? I went. And Newt's comeback for that wasn't so great. Then they thought, you know, the commentators kind of wanted to put him on the ropes a little bit, that Ron Paul, when they brought up the issue about race. And they said, well, listen, there were some comments that had your name on them. Some very racist comments from some things written about 20 years ago. What are you going to say about that? Well, I was expecting him to say, you know, like, hey, what? The internet? Do I look like Al Gore? I didn't invent the internet, some 20-year-old blogs. But instead, he came back and said, listen, stuff was written. I didn't write it. But, hey, there you go. And then all about the whole thing about race, he played the race card in their face by telling them, listen, hey, not only do I like black people, Martin Luther King was my hero. And with that comment, he basically shut up the room again. Because what did he have to come back after that? Martin Luther King was his hero? Huh? Who's going to dispute that? Especially with the holiday coming up. Then there was that moment where Rick Santorum got a little zinger in on him. Yeah, he got a little zing in. Because when the buzzer sounded, when it wasn't quite supposed to, he kind of, called out Mr. Ron Paul, or Dr. Paul, Ron Paul, by saying, oh, I think we caught him in a moment of an untruth. Hee hee hee. And everybody laughed because it was kind of funny. And underneath it all, Ron Paul laughed and smiled, and everybody laughed and smiled, and they all moved on. But in the back of his head, he's thinking, listen, I just took down 3 candidates. You're next. I got you. Oh, it's interesting. It's getting hot in here. I'll see you next time.